And now we are coming to the next module, the mold design. Everybody knows mold fixed off, moving off. There's a injection, screw bush is there. Okay, runner and gate is an important element. These are the type of mold everybody might be knowing. Till I just put because these are the standard molds like two plate mold we used to tell. This is standard mold. We used to tell two plate mold, and there are slider, no side action molds are there. Then these are like lifter type of mold where a lot of undercuts are there. And this is unscrewing mold like caps closure and all. Where our thread comes, you do unscrewing that gear system, everything will be there. For FMCG caps, closures, bottle caps and all, it is been majorly done. And this mold is like stripper plate. When there is a bigger part, we cannot give small ejector pin, because when we give ejector pin, the part it peers off area, no peers off, or no hole will happen. So uniformly at eject, is a technique known as stripper plate. Your part maximum area will be covered by the ejector plate and it will be pushed stripper plate. And the last one is a three plate mold. Three plate mold means runner will be coming from one side and a part will be coming from another side. With these molds are three plate mold are not recommended for critical parts, and because three plate mold runner length will be so huge, there will be so much pressure drop. And gate also, no very conservative gate we have to give on the part. There will could be problems. Okay, we will be compromising something. Whenever critical metal comes, better instead of going for a three plate mold, go for a hot runner mold. Now is a very very important thing, runner and feed system. So this will be going little on deep. So runner, as everybody know, this is a channel machine in the mold, which connects the screw from the machine nozzle. Screw will come, runner come, then the gate will come. Everybody asks what should be the size of the runner. Straight away they will increase the size of the runner. So runner, there is the optimum size. If the runner size is too big, what happens? It is a wastage, because simply for our part might have cooled in 10 seconds. Just to cool the runner and open the mold, we'll keep another 10-second extra. It's a money waste, our cycle time wastage. So runner, oversized runner will increase the cycle time and it's a wastage of money. And so much thin runner, what happens? Huge pressure drop. Whatever pressure you are giving in the machine, nothing will go to the part. So your part will not have a consistency or proper filling. Then what happens? We'll give all the pressure in the machine and fill. That means again our power is going to loss. What runners, there should be optimum size of the runner. Okay, based on the, I discussed now what is the pressure drop. Based on the pressure drop, we can decide the runner size. Optimum runner design, ease of it help ease of filling. Okay, and we have to see the what are the weight of the runner also. If we are not able to grind and use the thin, then it's no meaning in increasing size. But at that same time, we have to see what is the pressure drop happening also. Without having just some people keep small runner telling weight of the runner should be so less, but they never see what is the pressure drop happening, as we discussed earlier. So we have to see pressure drop to arrive the size of the runner also. It is optimum. Then runner, there are multiple type of runner. Cross sections are round is the semi round, trapezoidal is there. Which is the best thing that we'll be discussing. And runner polishing, we have seen automotive industry mainly, they never polish the runner. They will know what is their part will polish nicely, but runner will leave it as it is. No, that is not correct thing, because the material from the runner only go to the part. So proper flow to happen, we have to polish the runner feed system also. So runner thickness depends on the part volume, weight of the part, flow length, everything. If the runner is so big, so small runner will not help, because pressure drop it freezes away, metal freeze. So we may have to give a bigger size. So these are the type of runners. First runner is this is known as trapezoidal runner. Second one is a modified trapezoidal. We'll put a circle and we'll join with an angle. Okay. Third one is a round. Round is a mistake due to machining. Half round. And next one is a half round runner. And there is a odd shape, trapezoidal but odd shape. So in this, which runner is the best? Okay, you can see round is the best and round trapezoidal is the best. So what is the efficiency of a runner? How the efficiency we can understand? Efficiency of the runner is derived by the area of the runner by the circumference of periphery of the runner. If we calculate that, we'll give the proper efficiency. So if area of this circle divided by pi r square by pi d gives the efficiency of the runner. So every runner, if we calculate and see, we come to a conclusion that this runner, round runner with a small cross section gives the best efficiency. That's why round is the best runner, we used to tell. Okay. And if you inscribe, practically if you inscribe a circle inside the runner, because flow in the runner happens always in the center portion of the runner. Because whenever plastic comes and hit the runner, side area, wherever steel is there, those area will freeze. And the center area only flows, raw material flows through the center area. So whatever shape you keep, center round portion only going to flow. It is best to keep the proper size based on the inscribing a circle inside the runner to get a proper size, because only center area will flow. You keep it, all these things are wastage, sideways is wastage. This is also wastage here. But here you see center area maximum, because steel contact area is very less, only maximum center area will flow, and this gives a better efficiency. Here you can see this also, only small area wastage is there. Here, since radius is not given the bottom, little more wastage will be there. So it is like that. And next thing is balancing of the runner. So it is told that every cavity from the injection point or the nozzle should have a same distance. That is known as natural balancing. For a critical part, we have to go for natural balance. You can see here, all the part is in the same distance from the screw. That is known as natural balance. This is artificial balance, because nothing is balanced. So critical part, it may feel for simple comb or like what a clip and all commodity parts, we can use this. But for critical part, it cannot be done. Dimension changes, color also can changes, short cavity to cavity. Consistency, cavity cavity will not be there. That's why these are not suggest for good part, critical parts. This is a best one. And some people do artificial balancing. They put a lot of brain. Increasing here, gate increasing, runner increasing, all these things they will adjust it. It can be used for non-critical parts, and some of the parts will people use, but not for dimensionally very critical part. What happens after the mold run for a certain period? Some runners small. If all the runners on the same dimension, it uniformly expands or no shape change happens. But you are adjusting everywhere. Some runner increase based on the pressure difference due to the size. What happens? That cavity overfill, underfill, or whatever happens. So control, we will not be able to control properly. So this is a nozzle. This everybody knows. In the machine, sprue bush. This is sprue bush. That entry of the sprue bush for engineering plastics and should be like, it should not be so small. We can see in a machine supplier give like 2 mm, 2.5 mm minute. So it is our duty to increase to 3.5 to 4 mm, 3 mm, 3.5 mm based on raw material. The tougher material you have to go higher, because tougher material, if we are injecting through a small hole, it get damaged. The molecules get damaged. So we should take care of that. Okay, machine people give a standard nozzle. It is based on our raw material. We have to adjust that. So sprue bush diameter and nozzle, there's normal Coulter's sprue bush should be 0.5 mm higher than the nozzle, so that no mismatch will not happen. This is a thing, the normal thing. Okay, this is a sprue puller. So the function of the sprue puller is to pull the sprue bush from the cavity side and bring to the moving side, and while ejection it is pushed out. So this sprue puller is not just to pull the sprue bush. There is one more very important function. So based on that, we have to design that. Okay, sprue puller is the first point where the cold material from the every machine, in the tip there will be cold material. That cold material first comes and to stay somewhere. It should not go to the part inside the runner and the part. So this sprue puller is a cold slug well also. It will trap the cold material. That's why it is not a cold slug. Proper sprue puller helps to trap that cold metal and not going to the part. I know some mark will be there in the part and all. Sometimes gate will freeze off. In the running, in between the running, if cold slug or sprue puller is not proper, some cavity will freeze. Some cavity will not come suddenly. that cold material will go. For that, screw puller better design is like that. And second is Z puller people are using. This is not recommended for auto type of mold, automatic running mold, because every you have to remove with the hand. It will not fall down. If it doesn't fall down, if you are putting in automatic, then whatever the mold will cause, can damage can happen. And third one is a like some people know, instead of making reverse taper, they put a groove. What happens when the screw or runner ejects, that groove will sit inside the mold itself. Next time it will not pull. So that is not easy to manufacture, but not so effective. And this is a type of screw puller used in 3-plate mold and all. This is not recommended because see, this obstruct the flow of raw material. The raw material flow is obstructed by this puller. So pressure drop happen, filling problem happen. So this is not recommended one. Then what should be the size of the cold slug well? I told no, cold slug. Wherever there is a dead spot happening, metal is changing its direction. There should be a cold slug well. It is not a cold. It helps to trap the cold metal, friend metal, what is coming. So normally it is 1 to 1.5 the diameter of the runner. That is a dimension. Wherever end is there, you give a 1 to 1 point. That's why runner is little bit extended. If not given, then you'll have a problem, quality issue in the molded part. These are major type of grade everybody might have seen. First is the direct gate, second edge gate, fan gate, tab gate, overlap gate, which is given above the part, some diaphragm or disc gate, round parts and a uniform filling. And second is submersible gate, like our pinpoint gate or submersible gate, banana gate, all these things. These are second type of gate are known as automatic degating. Here part will come separate or runner will be separate. Here in this we have to do a secondary operation. So ideally we can see broadly we can classify this into two types. One is the edge gate, second is a submersible gate. All are no, all other varieties are form of edge gate only. Left side, whatever we are seeing, all are some form of edge gate because everything is attached to a part. Something direct edge, fan, all these, based on the filling. Gate mark is coming, so we'll give a little bit expanded fan gate. So all are the form of edge gate, multiple type of edge gate. Only shape changes based on our application or some of the molding issue. Edge gate size based on the wrong. See how to derive a size of the gate. We'll be speaking later on. So people tell no, say it is based on experience. No, it is not just based on experience. There is a calculation for deriving the gate size. Okay. Then there is a submarine gate or submersible gate. So submarine gate, many people don't prefer to use. Why? Because they feel no, that gate mark comes. But how to make a submarine gate? Submarine gate are very fantastic gate. It can give us same feeling as much like a edge gate if we are designing it very properly. If we are not designing properly, it goes for a toss. You'll get a lot of issues, pressure drop, everything, gate freezing. Then people will change it to edge gate. How can we design a submarine gate? We'll go to the next slide. There are two types of submersible gate. Okay, one is a standard construction in which directly this will be in a conical shape will be machined. This is a normal submersible gate. Okay. And second is a high volume or modified tunnel gate. We used to tell modified. So I recommend this second type of gate. Why? I will describe you. So whenever material come from the screw bush runner and in the gate and to the part, till the gate and in the part also, that melt temperature 300-degree temperature from the machine we are injecting the material, it drops. It comes to 300, 280, 290, 280, 270, 250 and 240. Like that it start dropping in the flow whenever it start flowing through the screw runner and gate. And our requirement is that when it flows to the part, minimum temperature drop should have happened. For getting a better quality part, the 300 degrees should remain 300 or very less temperature drop should be there, like 290. Or normally they said a 5 to 10-degree drop only is recommended to get a consistent part. Because when the temperature drop happens, that total flow behavior of the plastic changes. because plastic changes behavior based on temperature. Higher the temperature, flow is higher. If you go still more higher temperature, then burning happens. Then again it becomes solid. Burned metal is like a carbon; it never flows. Our motto is to keep the temperature should not drop beyond a certain limit. This gate helps in that. How means whenever metal comes through the screw bush, runner, and this gate, here we can see a land in this gate. So the metal hits here. Metal will be coming so speed, fast. So he hits and it started no turbulating. It happens no suddenly a turbulation will happen. It just rotates. Suddenly a stopping it turbulates, and the turbulation is a shear effect. Due to the turbulation, the molecules start rubbing each other in the inside the material. Same thing will come. Shear will start, and due to that shear, heat will generate. So whatever temperature has dropped in the screw bush, runner, and gate flow, this will start increasing, and it will again come back to the required original temperature. Whatever temperature drop happens, it start compensating. In the entry of the part, you will get a better temperature. The temperature drop again will be rise. Our part will have a consistent and easy filling will happen. So this is the use of using modified or this type of tunnel gates. Okay, in this gate, so for a critical parts or a temperature sensitive materials, it is recommended to use a modified or high volume. What should be the dimension? I am just showing one example. This is one example. No, normally I used to make for parts. See, it's not just the shape. We give the that modified shape. It does, because many people give whenever we tell keep that shape only. No, there should be some volume. It's 2 to 3 mm here. Then only it will heat and make a turbulence. And I also told plastic metal always flow center area of the flow path. Here the volume is higher than the center area core. Lot of raw material will flow inside the part. So this is how this gate is being designed. So here injection time also will get reduced because melt temperature will not drop. So you don't have to push again, because whatever drop temperature happen, it regains when it touches the gate area. That's why this gate is recommended. Part fills easily, packs easily. So I have Snyder, I replaced edge gate with this gate and I got a savings, because there we work for a savings. How to derive the size of the gate? So gate size is not just everywhere you go. No, they everybody tell it is based on experience. No, it's not just experience. There are few consideration we have discussed regarding pressure drop. Whenever we are making a mold, we have to see what pressure drop. So up to the gate, it is recommended cold runner pressure drop can be up to 30 to 40 MPa. In a hot runner, it can go up to 50-60 MPa also. So if it is not beyond inside that, it means we have to modify the gate size. Gate size is not proper. This is under. And whenever we are designing a mold, design time, how to set the gate size. It has to be done based on the shear rate of the raw material. What is the shear rate? Every raw material has its own shear rate based on its molecular property. The complicated the raw material, it can take only very less shear rate. Shear rate means you are pushing a raw material high speed inside the mold, and due to the higher temperature, it getting destroyed. So if it destroyed, your part will not get a desired property. Shear rate, there is a calculator for doing a shear rate based on the gate size and injection time. There is a calculator I will share with you. If whenever we are doing, if it is a polypropylene, simple raw material, commodity plastic, it can take shear rate up to 1 lakh. When we come to ABS, it can take up to 60,000. When we come up to polycarbonate, it can take up to 40 to 50,000. When we come to Ultem or something, it can take 30,000. The more the tough material, it takes lesser shear rate. When we go to PVC, it can take shear rate only up to 15,000. Whenever we see a PVC mold, we can see big runner and gate. When we are going to expo also, expo tooling expo, so we can see small PVC part, but runner gate will be so much big. Why? Because PVC cannot take shear rate. If it is sheared, the chlorine, PVC polyvinyl chloride, chlorine inside it comes out and disintegrate, and the metal will get damaged, and it will produce chlorine also outside. So chemical reaction also happens in this mold. That's why shear rate has to be taken care. The same, if you're having a part which is molded of polypropylene, you inject it with a small gate, it doesn't give any problem, because shear polypropylene 1 lakh shear rate it can handle, because its molecule is very small. The tougher molecule, if we inject in a small gate, what happens, that molecule completely cut, damage. So our thing is, without damaging the molecule, we have to stand to the more inside the part. So based on the shear rate, we have to do a gate size, proper gate size design. Then pressure drop, we are already told. Then third is gate freezing time. At the time of the T0 trial, we have to see whether, like I told, no, keep holding pressure time 1 second, 2 second, 3 second. By that process, we'll understand what is the gate freezing time. If I got a gate freezing time 5 seconds, and my gate has freeze, but my part has not completely filled or packed, that means gate freezing time is it is freezing off quickly, so I have to increase the gate. And then experience, of course, next. So all these things we have to take care when designing. This is an shear rate calculator. Hope everyone can see. First I am putting part name and all, whatever you can put. There is no metal density, that will be there in the data sheet. You can put the density. Polycarbonate, it is 1.2, so I put. Now I have to put what is the weight of the part, theoretical weight of the, I know the weight of the part, we have to put the weight. And injection time, as I told you, good injection time always will be lesser. You can put 1 second of injection, don't put 10 seconds, it will give a wrong, because 10-second plastic behaves so much odd, because 10-second plastic will become totally cool, and you are just pushing it and filling, so it will not give a right thing. So keep injection time when, even you know, the biggest part, automotive bumper part, also fills below 4 seconds. If it is not filling, then we have to go for multiple gate. It's not like increasing the injection time and filling the part. If it is not filling, instead of one gate, we have to, that's why multiple gates has been given sometime in the bigger part, because every gate can take only up to a certain size. You cannot increase the gate size so much to avoid the shear. So what happened, instead of giving a one gate bigger gate, we will split into 4 gate, and we will maintain shear rate in the all gate at the required level. So my injection time I kept 1. Number of gate in the part, I suppose I'm keeping 1. This for a round gate. Gate diameter is, I am keeping 1 mm. Metal is PC. Now you can see the result is 2,71,000. You see, no? 2,71,000 is coming shear rate. Now we have to go to the chart. This is PC, okay? PC. So PC can take only up to 40,000, but our calculation showing round gate it is 2 lakh, means my metal is molecule is going to get destroyed while injecting through this gate. So I have to come into make sure that it goes nearby 40,000. How to make that? So gate dimension, now it is 1. I'll make it 1.2. Now you can see suddenly it has no, from 2 lakh, so much difference. 1 mm it is showing 2,70,000. I make just 1.2 small correction, it just came to 1 lakh reduction. That is how shear rate behaves. Small increase in gate size give a drastic change in the shear rate. Now from 1.2 I am making 1.5. You see 80,000 suddenly. I make it 2 mm. It came to 39,000, 33,000. 1.8 I made, see 46,000, around 40,000. So this is the ideal gate size. You can keep it 1.8, 1.9 like that. So instead of PC, now I am telling this is a cycloid plating one. Okay, this metal now I am taking instead of that. If shear rate is only 20,000, now I am same gate I am keeping, so 46,000. It's not possible. So I'll make it 2.2 and see it came to 25,000. It is near 20,000 or 2.3 I make. This is a gate opening dimension. Okay, so it is nearby. So for this material, it requires release. This is how gate shear rate, based on shear rate, we have to derive the gate size. And this is for round gate, this is for square gate. Square gate only difference is gate width and thickness will be there. Here the shear rate will come. Okay. Then we have to increase the, if we are not able to increase the gate size, then we have to increase number of gate in that case to make this inside this. Here you have to increase the number of gate. This is some of the pattern. If gate is a bigger part, suppose we are giving gate at center, it's like a scale. Suppose this is a scale. No scale you can see, even the scale, biggest of biggest scale, you cannot see gate in the center of the part. If you give the center, what happens? Flow will happen in both the direction. What happens? You will know the part will tend to bend. If we are instead we are giving two gate, then what happen? Material will come and hit and weld line will happen center. So bigger parts and all always we give gates in the side. In automotive part, what we do instead of giving the side, we give like multiple point injection. Okay, and sequential injection. One gate from the edge will start injecting. When the flow reach the next gate, automatically valve open and the injection happen. So that meeting will not happen. It flows, uniformly it flows. So this is how gate even gives the shape of the part. And it is not like that every part, no, some part, every part. It's a indication I am telling you. Suppose your part is just do gate you are given, it is bending. Or center your gate is bending. That means you have to shift the gate. There are two types of gate. One is a edge gate, one is a submarine gate. Okay, or like pinpoint gate. For which shape of runner is best? When we see edge gate will be always coming in the parting line. So for an edge gate, a round runner is the best. So this is a round runner. This is parting line of a mold. Edge gate will come. It will when we manufacture edge gate. It is like this. Okay. So it comes in the center. So I told plastic material always flow through the center of any profile. So whatever if it is a round runner, the center material goes into the edge gate. So it will give a good result. Suppose the same edge gate I am giving in a trapezoidal runner. Then what happens? One side is a hot metal is there. Metal flows in the center of the runner. One side it is steel. Then what happens? This side it cools off. Then the efficiency of the gate will reduce. So for an edge gate, always recommend to the round runner. Okay. But for a submersible gate, I'll tell you, submersible gate looks like this. So whatever you do, submersible gates come in one side of the. It cannot be on the center. We cannot keep in the center. So submersible gate, this runner, trapezoidal runner, and round runner both gives the same result. Okay. So this is why for a edge gate, it is recommended always to have a round runner. Even a small also good enough. But giving a trapezoidal runner in a edge gate will reduce its gate efficiency. But a submarine gate, both runner give the same result. Bharati is asking how to say select a gate point. I told you one thing, based on the part profile gate has to be selected one thing. Second, based on thickness, gate has to be located thickest part of a thickest area of a part. Second thing, and third, from the if it's a no, flow should be like a uniform. Better to have a one direction flow instead of no mixed flow and a lot of turbulent flow. From the gate, the part end of the fill, the part has a multiple end of fill. Everywhere the end of the fill should be same. So the distance from the gate also to the end of the multiple end of flow should remain almost the same to have a better temperature drop, reduce the temperature drop. Pressure inside the cavity also similar. So gate has to be positioned in that manner. Okay, Bharti, hope I answered. And on the gate tooling design point of view, I'll discuss with Bharti separately because it's a deep subject. And we can do mold flow analysis also. Thing is, without reducing the temperature, lesser temperature, we have to fill the part. without reducing the pressure, we have to fill the part. Okay, that is a requirement. For that, we have to position it properly. So cooling means it's not just dropping the temperature. It is dropping the temperature from the melt temperature to the temperature what is specified by the raw material manufacturer for that grade, and it has to be uniform in the mold. It's not like if I touch one portion of the mold, it is 60 degree, another 100 degree, one is 120 degree. That is not the right cooling, and part has to be ejected below the heat distortion temperature I discussed. So the cooling has to happen till the part come below the heat distortion temperature quickly, not very slowly. Very slowly means you will lose cycle time. And why cooling time is so important? Because cooling time takes away the 60% of the cycle time. So if we have to reduce the cost, we have to attack the cooling time, not just modifying the machine. If it is 10 second or 20 seconds, just reducing the 15 second to 16 second is not there. Give sufficient cooling line or line whatever and reduce. It's not just changing in the machine. We have to support that. If it changes, our mold should come to this temperature quickly. So that's why cooling time has to be attended properly. A uniform cooling has to be done. What is the distance? Normally, this is a thumb rule of from the cavity. It's the thickness of the part. You can see some the approximate things. C has 2 times the diameter to 2.5 the diameter. We should keep the cooling line distance from the part 2.5 times the diameter of a cooling. That is a thumb rule. And for wall thickness, for part wall thickness 2 mm, we have to use a cooling, the thumb rule 8 to 10 mm. If it's a thicker part, then we have to increase the cooling line diameter and length also. It's not everywhere we will put 8. I have only 8 mm drill. So for 6 mm also, 10 mm also, thick part I will use. No, based on the thickness of the part increase means more material will go to the cavity, so more temperature it takes, more temperature within short time we have to pull from the mold. Mold is a heat exchanger, so for that we have to increase the cooling diameter. Sharp corners, no, very difficult to cool. So what we'll do then, what the part will bend after coming out, so we'll position the cooling line near the that little bit near, so that it uniformly cools near the hot area. This is how cooling line is designed. If sharp corners, then problem, then we to distribute that temperature, it is better to in the product design round off the corners. And this is very very important. Every molding shop, they have this problem. They will for ease of connection or for laziness, what they will do, there will be 10 line in the mold, but one inlet everywhere, that loop, blue color or whatever hose pipe looping will done, one outlet will be there. This is not the procedure. So ideally, for a critical mold, it is told that inlet mold water temperature, if you measure, and outlet we measure, there are equipments to measure that, it should be within 1 degree. Or for our normal mold, at least 5 degrees okay. It is not like inside the cold water, 40-degree water will go. When it comes out, it will become like ubalke. It's become boiled and come out. It is an inefficient cooling. Cooling temperature, liquid inlet and outlet, there should be minimal difference. That is a proper cooling. So this looping will not help that. If you have a lot of lines, what we can do, we can keep a manifold for that, and it's a inlet, there should be a manifold. From that manifold, connect one line to the mold, and outlet also one manifold. Instead of, but this looping, no, everywhere you can see a lot of loops. That loop should not be there. They will tell lines are less, all these things. So this, what happened in the mold, this is a starting of the mold. May suppose the mold temperature 80-degree. Here it will be 150-degree. Total our mold inside the flow behavior will changes. Balance and uniform cooling is the recommended one. You give any number of extra cooling, that is better for the mold. There is no over cooling such thing. Based on that, you can control that cycle time or whatever. And mold temperature using MTC you can control. So there is a thing known as conformal cooling. For getting a better part, if we can cool the part based on the contour of the part. Okay, it is known as advanced thing, conformal cooling in the mobile phone and all. mobile phone and all, parts are made like that, because in mold we cannot drill cooling line anywhere we want. So what they will 3D print the insert, so that any shape, based on the shape of the part, they can flow that cooling lines. Is known as conformal cooling. Means it passes the conform, whatever shape of the part, the same flow path it follows cooling line. Okay, so mobile phone, our TV, all these things are done by conformal cooling. It is, inserts are made by 3D printing, sintering we used to tell, laser sintering. Then this is a good habit. So this is a mold insulation sheet. As we know, mold is a heat exchanger. Hot metal comes inside and mold cools it down. It is better to insulate it from the machine. Okay, normally cavity side if we are keeping, everybody, it's very good, and both the side is best, but at least cavity side insulate, no, then whatever machine temperature, platen temperature will not come to the mold, and mold temperature will not go there. So what happens, our mold will be for critical part. This is very very important. Our mold is an independent item, because mold, if we directly coming to the machine, what happens, machine platen itself is too big, it will influence the temperature of the mold by conduction. So better mold insulation sheet to get a considerable critical item. This is very very important, both the side. At least cavity side is very important. If hot runner is mandatory, we cannot leave it, everybody knows. Sorry, this is air vending. So whenever plastic metal flows to the hollow cavity, there will be air inside the cavity. Initially, there will be air only. There we are injecting with high pressure the raw material. So the air, it displaces, and if it doesn't goes out of the cavity, it gets trapped in the raw material. When it gets trapped, then what happens? It gets superheated. Trap means it, it cannot escape, and raw material comes and pushes and compresses it. So whatever get compressed, automatically heat generation happens. It is in diesel engine, it happens like that. Air is compressed 1 by 8, 1 by 16. Then it temperature increase superheat to some 1000 degree, and there diesel is injected. Similar way, it compress and the air temperature go up to 300 400 degree, and it burns away the material itself, plastic, and black color, no, burning mark will come. So we have to displace the material, air inside the cavity whenever the material is coming. For that, air vending is given. So air vending depth and thickness is very very important. Thickness is depend on the raw material is used. Viscous thick raw material require, can, we have to give deeper air vents. The raw material is very very, like a fluid, like a nylon or pp, it flows like water. If you give a bigger depth, what happens, material also will flow along. So once material flow inside, then it will block the air vent. Based on raw material, every raw material has its own air vent consideration. So polypropylene is like 0.0203, nylon 0.0205, for pc can be up to 0.4, 0.04 to 0.06, like that. So viscous material we can go higher. And next is the, after a certain distance, their air vent had to be relieved. We cannot just, some people know air vent, it's not there, mean they will come with the file and just with the file they will rub, air vent is there. No, it's not. It has to be properly defined, because when the mold run for again and again, it will just compress and just clog off. So proper shape and dimension, defined air vent has to be given. So depth is one thing. After a 5 mm or 3 mm, then we have to relieve it to the atmosphere. Then only it will be giving desired result. If you are not relieving it, you can see, this is relieved. After this, it is relieved bigger. Then only it will give a result. Otherwise, it will block off. Hot runner used to, now in our normal mode, there will be runner wastage will be there. So whenever we give hot runner, that runner wastage will be eliminated. Moreover, material will remain hot condition until the part or near to the part. So pressure drop reduction, melt temperature reduction, everything will be taken care of. Basically, hot runner keep the metal at a higher temperature till the gate point. Okay, this is a function of hot runner. Hot runner may steel selection, everything based on the raw material, what is the filler used. This also have the same problem. Abrasive wear out is there, chemical wear out is there. So whenever you are using a hot runner and you are using a chemical metal which have a chemically abrasive property, erosion property, then based on that, hot runner people will select like stainless steel, Stavax or something like, okay. Sometimes P20, if it is not the wear out is there. If we are having a glass fill content, 30% glass fill, they use hardened steel to prevent the wear out. So this is what hot runner is. General mold tips. These are tips. So gauge size has to be kept not just by our experience. It has to be bigger, keeping in mind the shear rate of the raw material. I have given 30 to 40,000 depending on engineering plastic. Most of engineering 30 to 40,000. So keep in. And pinpoint gauge are not like three plate mold, small pinpoint gauge. No, three plate mold are not advisable for critical parts because it result a higher shear rate and part quality. If we are using three plate mold, proper design, no, you should consult a proper consult. Otherwise, you will not get a repeatability. Okay. In case of cold runner mold, inlet screw bush inlet diameter for I discussed 3.5, 4.5 has to be there, not like small to like pin and all. Many people keep screw bush for engineering plastic. I'm telling, and nozzle diameter has to be like 0.5 lesser than that. In case of hot runner, screw inlet, hot runner, screw inlet and machine inlet has to be same. Okay, it should not be so much difference, and it has to be bigger, not small like a cold runner. And in molding, I told you decoupled molding, whatever is, injection up to 95 to 98%, all this has to be done. And maximum cooling circuit and avoid looping has to be avoided. And if you have many and difficult to connect, put a manifold instead of looping. Suggest to use thick. Why more thick for a robust mold? If you see, critical molds running in top cost companies, millions and millions production, they use mold, bigger mold size. We see why bigger mold, because it is given for a robustness, because bigger molds plate means, if properly temperature will be maintained properly. If a very thin plate we are keeping, suddenly when 300-degree it heats up, suddenly eject, it cools down faster, it cools and heats. So to avoid that, we are keeping a thicker. So thicker mold plate will not suddenly heat, but it will be robust. Once heated, it retains the heat or temperature. Sudden heating and that cycle will not happen. That's why thickness has to be optimized. Not so much thin should not be used just for cost purpose. And strength also another thing. More than strength, this is also important. And wherever critical, because shrinkage is a mystery, especially for crystalline material, since the expand and contract is a mystery. So wherever critical dimension tight tolerance are there, we have to keep stock. We cannot tell I kept 0.5 or 2 shrinkage based on the data sheet. Some dimension has gone out. It's not my responsibility. Tool maker has to keep stock and machine. That's the only option for that. And tool has to be run. And see, whenever trial happens, nobody connects the cooling time. I've seen cooling lines, many area. So I whenever I take a trial, whenever T0, I never allowed to take a trial, because see, we are setting a process based on the T0 trial. So we had to give a, if it is a critical part, obviously we had to, because if the mold temperature changes, all the dimension can change. If it is critical, 0 to 0, everything can change. So give trial also has to be done with the required mold temperature, giving all the cooling line only. And air vent is very important. Not just going to the mold and just rubbing is not an air vent. It's to be properly defined air vent based on the raw material. Okay. And adequate and balanced ejector pin also, it should be balanced, and size of ejector also very important. It to stress free. Some simply we are pushing, what happens, stress will be accumulating the part. Afterwards, this fractures. We'll be going through that later on. Screw bush and all guide filler, it is better for critical molds. It is better to use through harden instead of case harden, because case harden guide pillars can bend if it is very critical dimension. I'm telling people, tell I'm keeping case harden. Case harden means only outer surface of the guide pillar will be hardened. Then what people tell, it will not break, it will have a flexibility. So purpose of, what is the purpose of guide pillar? It is to have, in a critical mold especially, it is alignment should be proper. So better to give a fully hardened, so it will not bend. If it bend, it breaks. It is better to break instead of bending and running and giving an odd dimension for a critical part. Okay. And short to machine, if considering the machine short capacity to machine, we should use 30 to 70 percentage. And residential time in the barrel, each and every granule the barrel should not stay there for 5 to 8 minutes for a engineering plastic. For a pp and all it go 10 minutes also, 15, no problem. But critical metals to be lesser. Some of the metal, very very sensitive metal has 2 to 3 minutes also. Okay. Stop sharing. So this is for today. If any doubt, you can just open and ask. It will maybe a little bit faster. Yeah.
Sir, I would suggest that basically we have seen generally, this is my experience, that molding nylon is very, critical. Specifically, the temperature window is very less for the processing.
Yes.
And secondly, a lot of parameter issues come down in nylon. So if you can shed some light on that, possibly all the participants might be interested in that, because nylon is a very, highly used
Yes.
engineering polymer,
Yes.
and
So,
possibly everybody must be suffering some issues in that.
yes. So, okay, sir. So this is a combined effect. See, if we have, see, our intention is to get a better molding window. Okay, better molding window, better space to operate. If you are operating a very very narrow operating window, then there is a chance, if you are keeping very narrow whatever setting, then small change will affect. Comes in the machine selection, machine short size capacity. Nylon should not kept for overheater for so longer time. So first it comes the barrel size,
Yes.
then the sizing of the nozzle. Nozzle should not be so much lengthier, because nozzle temperature cannot be controlled very properly, because it is a small part, small steel. It
Correct.
heats up quickly, it cool down quickly. So proper size nozzle, short nozzle with a better heater which is covering throughout the nozzle is recommended in that side. Okay? That is that. Then comes into our mold point of view. Mold feed system, pressure drop. We have nylon cools very quickly, cools up very quickly. So if you are not properly deriving the gauge size and freezing time, then what happens? Before it fills or before it get a good molding window, it freeze out. Then our process will be very unstable. Okay, before a part fills free, then what we do, to compensate, we increase the temperature on the machine. So temperature on the machine increase, problem is gauge. What happened? Then it will started coming out automatically. Then again that cold metal go and sticks inside the gate, and again it pops.
Drooling starts and
Rolling.
all.
Okay. So we have to keep in the machine recommended, and based on the tool and part has to be corrected. First thing in tool and part correction, gate has to be corrected. If it is proper, then don't adjust on the machine temperature to get the right part, because nylon take very narrow processing window. Okay, that is very very important. And then comes in the mold temperature. To maintain a proper mold temperature nylon, we have to give multiple cooling lines based on whatever. Then instead of looping, give a proper direct connection, maximum direct connection. So all these things put together and injects very fast. Don't inject slowly nylon. When we inject nylon slowly, the next shot in their barrel get overheated, we kept it there itself, then it start rolling out. All this, and moreover nylon is very much prone to water absorption. It is a hygroscopic material. Nylon has all the maximum problems. So it should be properly preheated, and it should not overheated also underheated. Overheating lot of hours we keep, then whatever additive is there, volatile goes out to the air, then again problem will come. So proper based on that time and temperature we have to maintain. And dehumidifier has to be used. Dehumidifier only can control nylon properly. Otherwise nylon in winter season give totally devastating result. So based on it, give drooling comes out, whatever. based on that. So if we are taking all these points, then only we'll get everywhere 5%. It is not no single I attend some one thing only I should get 100% result. No, we have to attend all these points: mole temperature, melt temperature, gauge, routine, everything contribute 5 percentage, and we'll get a better robust process. This is how only thing how we can attend. Otherwise, molder somehow he'll set it, but if he is on leave that day, other person cannot set that process. But when we follow scientific process, whoever is there molding, once you are set, then that saved process you take, it runs automatically. You don't have to every day. I had been visiting one customer earlier. So there is one Mukadam there. He keeps on setting every 1 hour, 2 hour. He keeps only if he is not there on leave, nobody can set, because no mold temperature controller is set for that part. Gate is not proper. Machine they'll put in any machine somehow. Gate is not proper. Cooling line are not proper. Ejection not proper. So it is totally based on his skill that part is running. If not there, they cannot produce the part. So that should not happen. That's why we are telling everything we have to scientifically derive and keep in the qualification itself, so that this mold, anybody see, I will tell you, any mold, if we are qualifying in this manner, easy, it can be easily set. Only one process, 98% by injection, then only holding we have to control. Then while every part operates in the same procedure, in that case, if you are qualifying this method, then it will be very, very easy. Okay, Devendraji, this is the overall thing.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other question from anybody else?